Good. Set up in that corner. I bet you would be calling me now, huh?
Hey, when will the video be uploaded?
Where's
What
that video
video?
from? Okay, that's where you put.
If you're the one who sent me the $8, put a one in the chat. So my computer broke. So that's what happened. My computer broke. So I'm gonna just send your money back. Because I'm in the midst of getting a new computer. So you can text me at 757-797-8278. When I get my computer fixed, it's gonna be on and popping, be uploading. I know the last time I uploaded was probably like 7 months ago.
Okay,
I
now
mean,
I'm in the
2 months ago.
this one.
Yeah. There you go. I see you. There you go. See? Easy money, bro. Easy money, bro.
Oh, so we
Easy
in.
money. Easy money. Easy money. There we go.
Live right now. Peace, how y'all doing? Let me know when you get your computer. I will upload it. Like when I get my computer fixed, I'll upload your request. Thanks for like being patient and stuff. Peace, how you doing? It's good. Everything's good.
He was allowed when I get used to for look at my baby. Then I fly money. I second. He was allowed when I get used to for look at my bed. And then I fly money. Hey, you wanna I saw. Oh, but you I, man, una pizza, gelato, Tiki tiki bang, hello, wait, na mga naluyos na ba? Alam niyo bang naman na amakin na magkasama na inis ko lang lulu na ba? Siwiram, 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 shake Pwede ko pang isipis mga pay Badala ng mga pay Pinalo Wala yung bala Ako yung bala Ako yung bala Ako yung bala Wait, ako yung bala Wait, ako yung bala Wait,
Getting y'all riled up. Give thanks. Peace, peace, peace. Love them hearts. Love them hearts. Just waiting for my people to come on in now. Wait, don't start it yet. This is the sound we should be making for each other as we sound out for each other. First sound that Mama made gave us this sound that tastes so great. Food that we ate. Sound that's so pleasant, it kept both your lips together, that you can make a sound while your lips are still together. Sound that comes out. Give thanks. Give thanks to sound. Sound is so pleasant. Speaking of sound, we're gonna go with some freestyle for you. All right, let's just start. Yeah. How we represent. Be like Superman or Clark Kent. If you didn't see the zero, who is the hero? Oh, is it Nero? Or is near in fear? Is it fire, earth, air as a river being clear? Or how you caught up in the rear, not knowing really what is fear? Fire, earth, air, river near. Yo, listen clear. Yo, it's that mind like a crystal. If it's not, then you might have missed a word. As we now hesitate, it's the hesitation on the cake or the cake being vegan. How you eating off the plate? Yo, you can relate, or is the hesitate on what we've been eating? Now a bellyache, headache, a heartache, not knowing really how we create. Now you know what really even the master will debate on itself. If you didn't see the rate or the rate be your rate now. Got it like the tape or the tape be white or black, even in the yellow. How you eat it, I can eat it, but I eat it how I ate it. Ate it how you said now, is it penetrated? Forward with the words been living or it's faded. How we know it's culture, or is it the vulture? Checking it down like a quote, is it quota to the word? Now you say it like you smoked the inner high, or the high be the inner out, or the outer be your doubt. How we love the smile, will the smile be your route to a new now? How you put in power, knowing what's your hour, second, or do you really now will devour things that didn't really relate? How you eat or how you hesitate, what you doing on your plate? Is it hesitate? Or the word being his and is an end state? Level in how you been in the fate. Is it fate over faith? How you been with the H and the H be your house, and now the fate is really how you been with your own mate. Is it made with the M and 8? Yo, how you in it when you didn't see Emmett? Emmett be your time and time lit now lit. Be like Emmett Till, are you now silver on your law? Law being legit, not just to make it quick, but the words that be living in your disc to the ease, is it making us sick in the energy? Change up the frequency, free the queen and the queen, how we ever be. If it's not, then we just call it materially, not seeing mentally or physically. True identity, your memory could be lost or lost like a kid, but the child is really what you did in your life. Now you know when really what you been. Being in the B, but the I like a D, not to see the identity. How you really got to be free, got the free man, or the free man can't overstand how you bind, or that bind be divine on the mind. In the time or the out of time, it's that line, curve from the spine. How you see it even when you're on or off time. Time in, how your sun when you shine. Is it really blind or blind? Being how but now in the mind. How you been sublimed by the words, and now the words superb. A bird be the herb, or the herb be how you heard. Things that you put it down, line or curve. Yo, what we do is now more the nerve. And what we do now, how you got the nerve in what you're saying now, more superb. What you're doing in the mind, and now submerging. How you know when really what is your version? Yeah, how we put it down, it's that word then. It's your working. How you been speaking, now it's been sparking. SP with arcing, knowing how you get it down even in the darkin'. If it's not white or yellow chalking, how we been living with your barker. Who is that? Now we gotta get more now smarter. We call it intelligent. CIA or C in the central intelligence, or the G be the A as an agent. Not knowing really what you say, how we playing. Word could be slaying like decaying, and not knowing what we spraying. Be like a cave for the caveman and caving. Mind how we gaving, game like a slaving. That's what that lay or that lay begin labing. Blaming on the word even when you say you're claiming. Is it your first or last naming? Who is really demon? Demon is Damon, a Damon is a diamond. How we been demanding, and now we see the blinding energy. Yeah, we call it chi. How your breath need to be holy in the mind, and not just the whole with the E, but the E with the whole and eternity. How you more now we learn of what we are. Yo, you the star, not just a vehicle, a vehicular. Respect. This is what we call the activated, you know what I'm saying, of our anatomy, and how we get this knowledge, and how the knowledge comes through academically in our own devices. So when we use acronyms, it's not just A for Apple. You see what I'm saying? Going to the next track. Respect. Yeah. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if you had a B. What is that? They say alpha, F, beta, beta with the hater. Hater not knowing really as obligator. Which is fate, but your fate be your rate, and your rate be even when you know when you ate or you eat. Eating and then eating. No one would be speak, now you ask with that peeking. Yo, what's Puerto Rican? Is it a part of nationality? If it's not, then what's in front or back of me? When we say, is it Mount Batiano? Knowing how we get from today to tomorrow. Who's the day? Or the day be a D-A-Y or a D-E-Y? If I didn't see word that be play, or the play super saiyan. Word now, how you say your ex, what you're rayin'. Chromosome. No, what you in the home? Or the home be that phone, or that phone be your cell, and that cell be your phone. But that pH with one, how you see when you couldn't see the star or the sun is that moon. How you really shine. Shine more when you see it now, how you put it now into the vine. Vine, not just the tree that you climb, but that vine, how you see it with this vine, like the fungus among us, and how we get it. Really, how we see it, even words when we spread it. It's like the mayo, but the mayo being vegan. Knowing really how we now S with that peeking. Peeking what you doing in the mind, not the ruin, but that ruin being seeing the unkind. How you see it unnatural. Natural dies off real fast, and if you didn't natural, then the nurture won't last. Yo, how you put the nurture in the nature? If it's not, then the bird's been the outdater. How you learn the love and the love when you quota. If it's not how you write it, then you write as well. Roller energy, how you get it? Speak that. If you didn't know you pretty, levels in. How you know man what's that rebel? Rebel be that rock or that rock be your pebble. Energy, how you wanna do it when you're rebel? Rebel up the steel be your real to the pedal. Pedal to the metal, metal, how we getting down if you didn't see how they fettle. Fettle with the fiddle, when now the rat or the rat be the paddle when now that or the paddle be a paddle now just like a bat or that bat hitting the ball and ball when it's splat on a home run. Oh, the diamond, how you see energy, how you say crush now. It's the pressure in reality. Got the G, now you knowin' what is gravity. Gravity's lock or locker now. Being on the brain and the brain B. Now you know how the rain and be past the time. And when we change or the change be. Even when you got to change your aim. Yo, it's the simple of being plain. If you didn't know it, then I guess we really couldn't maintain. You say it's just a hang, but hang is strange fruit. So really how we gonna get to the root is the energy. Knowing how you be in that time to be. Levels in the world, even in the almighty. How you been the world and being nobly. How you been the world and now not even a sober. Can tell you how you been living older or being colder. How you been living the world now it's on your shoulder. If it's not then I guess a rock to a boulder. How you got to be not just to be the pebble. Rock, 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 you the rebel. Rock, 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 you the rebel. Rock, rock, rock. Rock, you the rebel. Yep, take the level up, take up the level. Rock, 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 cause you the level. Rock, 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 cause you the level. Rock, 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 cause you the level. Rock on up, cause you knowin' it's the level that we in. How you take it now but spin to the S with the P, now we in. How you put the pen in, how you been pinning. Now you knowin' even from the back to the beginning. Word is, how you knowin' what we do. How you been even when the rest is it due. In the mind, do you had it as Scooby-Doo, had the clue. Yo, that's me and you. Yeah, we are a part of the unity in ourself. So as we speak, I'm gonna give you right now some poetry inside myself that it helped me elevate myself as well, being present. We call it present in words. So from young to adolescent, you get this bless or be less when you didn't see bliss. The bliss is this. If it's like a snake, it will hiss. But the stake is how the mistake is if you didn't see the stake in it. As we see his is also him, and him is also connected to her. So when we get this life, is it really what we call a massacre? Got you in a blur, got you in a blizzard. Get real to the mind if you didn't see the twist from a twister. In this mind of who we saw, MR could be called Mr. Yet this is still to be pure as what we call more. As room is backwards, so is the room of more. You could be a moron or a moron. So how long have we gone? So much that we didn't see the low and the middle and top and how we flow. Or is the flow of how we said we got to the floor and we couldn't see the ceiling of what we really feeling? Is it field as in field in what you've been feeling? Is it feel as in feel? As an orange, we be peeling. This is the real anatomy to my own astrology. As I break it down, even if I didn't go to college, B, it's just the words and how the words got us to think now. As swords, cutting, slicing, interaction. But is it the incisions that we give each other as that's the satisfaction? We say act. Or is it action? When we see the people take that and use it as a break, and then they say, and action. Is it really the word that they want to say? It's more like the word being the word play. As we say act versus action. You are actuality. You are the actual to who you are and who I am, we are to be. Our realities have been taken for granted, yet we are that G with the R or the ant. Could be how we've been amped by thought. Small as a small like tall, or tall being a king as tall king. If you can feel the bee, do you really feel the sting? Or is the sting how we feel when we get in the ring? When the bee was only there to give you harmony? Is it harm on you, or is it harm on me when we see harmony by being present? We call it presently. You present yourself as I present myself and how we be. Energy. It's a build. I give thanks to the real. Respect. Alright, I'm gonna do one more song. Give thanks. And I have some instruments in here too, as you might see it in the back of this room here. I got a steel pan that I'm gonna work with. They call it a steel pan in another world, but this is also a hand pan in another world. So we use our hands in this one, and it's reversal. So, but I'm gonna start you off with some sounds of my flute, and then we get you in with the steel pan and bring you into the drums, the fire and the water drums. So we'll explain that later. I give thanks. Let's go ahead and get started. One, two or three. Yeah. It's the energy. Call it frequency. How we free in the queen, how we been. If you didn't see it, take a back spin on what we in. Oh, the ox be your gin and the gin. If you didn't see a for a friend. Yo, how we be? Yo, it's energy. 0 to the 1, a 1 to a tree. Knowing how the tree be, even in the tree, can you see it not being even shady? Going past 360, we getting 480 on how we on the line, not to be shady, but know the shade. Knowing as it's cool being aid, or the aid being cool and not the fade in the culture. Knowing how we getting down the quota, not to say we lost with our culture, know the vulture. Vulture be a boat, and when you take it now, you know we ain't no joke. Rock him in the energy, how we in the inner B, or the inner B going down in December B. Even if I cut it like a log, it's December B, or it's like timberly, late on the energy, no hesitate. Even when the cake getting your belly ache or headache from my heartache. Knowing what I do and when I make, or now I got to create. These are words just being absurd. If you didn't know how you got to change the herd being hurts and what is worth or the worth be, even how you going berserk. What is this? Bring me up, Captain Kirk or Scott. How you being Scotty if you didn't know what or not? I just Star Trek, how you getting down for the fact or the factor, not knowing really from act. It's the action. How you getting down? It's the pack or you packing. Words could be even when you said when we slacking. This is the world of artifacting or the order that and yo, this is smacking even for those who know the rock or the rock be pop bottom even what you got or the block be with the lock or the lock be not knowing really from the S to the slot. Yo, it's that being curved from the spine. How we know a masculine even from the masculine being feminine. Yo, it's the time and knowing how we being more divine. It's that mountain you could climb all that water. How you wanna do it when you're moving in the slaughter, or what you're doing from a quarter or 4 quarters to a head, and now you see the hemisphere instead. We in the 4, fire, earth, air, river near. How you wanna be even in the fear of God, or God be in your fear. How you in the rear or the rod be even not knowing what you got there. Yo, it's your tool or a weapon or a toy. You could be a girl or a boy, and how you been living your joy, or you knowing really how you do it. Do you really want to be higher or employ your own self? Knowing how you now is that it's your own health. If you didn't see it, then you gotta put it on your shelf. Yo, it's right or your left. Yo, even the elf can't get even magical, but the word might be living in the habit, so the habit be your habit on what you do. So you gotta change your view and the energy. It's your frequency. Love your mom as your mom will be. Proud of you, proud of me, pardon thee. Love your father, even when you're honor, or when he said you might have been dishonor. Took the whole family and your family to explain. Yo, how you put down the Y and the X in your hand, and the hand be your chromosome, and your right to your left. Now you know we're not just being alone or Al Capone, even in the zone. When you're on the phone, no one with you in the zone. Yo, it's energy, being in the zen, with the yin and the yang, how you just began. Good thanks, respect. This is what we're looking for in Trinity versus the dual and duality. So this is why there's other reasons to put your mind into a better way of looking at each other. I know we go from 0 to 1 or 0 to 100, and we don't think into that point. You have to slow down, breathe, relax. It's not a dual thing. It's not the two fighting one another. It's really a three. And if you could come to that circumference of thinking, this goes to the outweighing of the square, the triangle, and how the triangle all really meets up into a cipher before it becomes a circle. Circle is a 360, where we are still now coming to confinement of is that there's what we call a 480 degree. I might be off. Somebody might say, oh, he doesn't know what he's saying. Just go into the Dendera and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Tamarat, they call it Tarawat. Tarawet is the hippopotamus in the center. It's like a cone. So when you see the shape represents an oval, not a circle. Circle represents a flat form. So when you have what most people talk in knowledge, 120, 120, 120, that's your 360. 120, 120, that's 240. Add a third, that's 360. They're still missing the fourth part to that triangle. So when we are actually in our 480 degrees, we actually see the backside of the head now. So you're actually up here and seeing your perception is now towards the floor, or towards, reality that's around you. Your actuality is what's going on right now. So we're being present. Present is emit, E-M-I-T and T-I-M-E. They're the same letters, I just reversed them. So when you think of here is also H-E-A-R, but it's also H-E-R-E. That makes you hear with your ear. H represents A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That's the 8th letter. So that's the house with your ear when you hear yourself. So as you hear being present, you become more of a gift. And because you can be present, that means you're not blocked by the past, which most people do as a presenter. It will bring up the past so they could be a better presenter of the present. Now, if you know your past and you're wanting to identify the past, that's great, but it's not always helpful for everybody else not knowing who you are in your past, that they'll identify your past better than yourself. This is what we call a passer. Us, as people, we should not have to pass other people's past to each other as if they're the passers. If you're the passers, you add a T and you got a pastor. That might have hurt a couple of people in the audience, but I'm not here to hurt anybody. It's about learning the pasteurized energy that we've been eating for such a long time that we need to actually break down the food that makes sense to us instead of always being rude and being nonsense to each other. So I'm gonna grab the next instrument here to give you the next notion. First, I'm gonna throw a little flute in first before I actually grab the main instrument I like for y'all to hear. This instrument happens to be a wood flute, so it's gonna give you some difference of how you want to hear things, and you might not have heard this before, so just bear with me for a second.
Power on.
Respect. Respect.
Yeah.
Big thanks. Respect. Yeah, we here. I hear you go.
What's that? So much what I'm eat of.
I guess somebody talking about eating. That's right. Gotta get that food on the plate.
Yeah, man.
Time to eat. Gratitude.
Sacred space.
Yes, I am. This is that what we call sacred space, and the instrumentals are another step into the sacred space. How we've been using instrumentals. So, what we're doing right now is bringing in. Oh, you good right there. That other authority of ourself that sometimes you can't speak about it. You just got to do it. So these are the other things that what we say as far as concept. What can you do to work it in as you do it? So I got this what they call a hand pan, and pretty bulky, as you see. It actually has 9 spots on it, and the way you play it, you'll see how I'm playing it.
Cosmic, I hope my mic is not open. It is. Your mic is open. Hold on. Let me see if I can get Diana close. No problem. Keep going. Diane. You're in for a second.
Respect.
Hey, bro,
Yes,
how
sir.
did you come up with the name of the concept for the concert today?
Well, there was a lot of energy frequencies that we ourselves have been in like a turmoil of feeling. So we want to be activated. So the activated part kicked in. And then, how we even look at knowledge and activation, how we really want to use that. That became a part of why I had to come up with the anatomy design. That was another reason why, as far as communication, how we're really activating the community with our communication, and then how is that, applicable. And so when we say that, it's based on astronomy and astrology. Is it black market?
Yeah.
So as far as like, I should have planned that one. As far as anatomy and astrology, the planets are around us in a certain alignment. The stars and the moon, as we say, the sun, we are a part of that as the alignment. When you think of 9 planets, the 9 planets is one concept, but if you think of 7 is the easier notion with Noble Drew Ali. I don't know if too many people are familiar with here that's on the panel, but Noble Drew Ali gave us the 7 fingers. The idea of what 7 fingers represent: love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, based on the 5. And then there was equality, and how equality and quantity is based on, your liberty, your liberal acts, who you are, and how you are, of course, being who you are and what you're doing. So to have these loves or this affection became why that 7, why 6 go to 7, because 7, 8, 9. The 8 and the 9 represent coming out of your chakras, reaching a certain point after your 7th. Of course, you have what we call a photon into the colors. And so photon represents a death. So we take a death and we also take a depth into ourselves. So it's based on communication, how we've been able to communicate ourselves different now, more than we ever have. So we're in the hip. Hip is HIP, and the hip is part of the hippopotamus that I was speaking on earlier, the taro wet. That's more of a reason for why we even call it community, communal, communal is KO for those who can't see, to KA as the sound changed interchangeably. We call it interchanging words. So when we say Kemet, Kemet, Comet, they're all the same as Kemet. We might not have seen it from the point of view. So this is why this is majorly needed to speak on, talk, even show back as a demonstration to our own selves to really see why we call ourselves who we are. So I'm gonna see if, can you reverse that so they can see it, or can they see it? All right, so I'm gonna use this black marker so I can show you what I'm talking about. So the first, as to go from 0 to 1, is the separation in itself. Man has been taught what woman already knew. Now it's just that woman might have forgotten, so man has to remind her. Not saying that she's less than because she's forgotten, and not saying that we're greater than because we got the actual plan. The plan has been written down, as they call it, manual. Man, you are the L. So in order for you to know that, though, is to know thyself. most people know it as the Quran. Koran, the Quran. Now, when I say Quran, it's not the same as what you might have seen it from. Like they say, oh, I'm not for that religion. It's not a religion. This is how you are practicing your science. This is the acronyms. So when I put a K for it, K is just basically saying knowledge. O is an example of order. R is your rhythm. Without rhythm, you can't flow. A is about anatomy, astrology, and what else am I missing? Anatomy, astrology, and astrology. And your N is really your nationality, who you are of yourself. So what we can't speak on, I know that we choose not to, yet we also have free will to speak. So what I mean by this is we are all part of the zodiacus will. And in that, you can find a good form of communication. Most people don't want to start here, but this is where I'm going to start so that we all kind of get on the same page and we on the layman's turn towards what this is. First is this F. I put the letter F. F represents fire. Right? That's the first form. And we know fire from Aries. Aries represents the fire. The I am as a mantra. Now, most people probably already know this already and say, oh, I already know this, I don't need to know nothing else. Well, that's not what we're here for. We're here to put everything together. One person might have an elephant foot, the other person might have an elephant tail, the other one might have an elephant tusk. But in order for us to have the whole elephant, we all got to go in the room and see the elephant together. All right, so the first thing I said was fire. That's Aries. Aries represents the I am, and that represents the eyes, the EYES. And the eyes is here on my little man I made up in here. The eyes is very needed and very necessary, because when you have a head of yourself, you got to know how to be ahead of yourself by what you see. But now if you're seeing isn't a part of what you're doing, then seeing and doing are two different things, as they say, right? It's a part of your action. You might have been acting to do it, but now you got to do the action behind it. This is also based on we call it NSEW, but it's also WENS, and it's also NEWS, and we know it as news. So when we kind of give us the past. And so we have to either be more present while we're looking into the past, affected by it. And the way that is based on your zodiac. The first part is fear, fire, earth, which is the next one, Taurus, which is a triangle. Now, why did I put triangle in the square here? The square represents cardinal. We just put cardinal. And then the other one is fixed. F-I-X. Why is it fixed? Is because there are certain ways that we use communication. When you came into this world, you came in on a 9-month birth, not the 3 other missing months to your earth self. But we're going to go back and analyze that after we get done with this. The whole idea right now is if you're a Taurus, you came in with your nose first. So that's why Aries to Taurus goes from eyes to nose. Now you know your nose, but you also know your nose, N-O, with apostrophe on your S. So this is why you have a lot of rebuttal, or the bull, or the apis, the axis, the atlas. They say you got a chip on your shoulder. Well, this is really the block. As they say, you're a blockhead. This is the other side. The one who rode in on a donkey or rode in on basically one with hooves will be a bull. So a bull, Aries to bull, a bull is connected here. You're able to do these things. Now, why do I put Taurus as this? Because the mantra represents I have. And you're able to have things once you're able to use your eyes to see with. So these are, they're going to go step by step, and you're going to connect back to yourself once you see how you basically have what we call fear, because that's the 4 basic acronyms. Fear God. We've been fearing God for so long, and now when we face God, we're still fearing Him. When it's supposed to be atmosphere of God. So you're supposed to be an atmosphere of God. You already got God's energy inside of you. So now it's how the deliveries and the miracles come out. So that's coming from your circle. And you got to have a circle based on your air. Now I know most people look at this as alpha to omega. That's why the circle also could represent an O. It could also represent an oval. It also represents the roundness. So when we think of wind, like I said, wind is W-E-N-S. It's also like W-I-N-S or W-I-N-D-S. That's why the winds is about Gemini. Gemini represent your air. We just put G-M-I. You know the gem is in you. That's why Geminis represent like a diamond. And the diamond, for what we find out, is through pressure. As we say pressure, we created diamonds. So through that is the I think. I think. I think. And so from matter, which is a Taurus, material.
Somebody come get their cat.
So material and matter of I have from Taurus to I think to not even just thinking, because it comes with thinks. It also comes with a thought. But you got to thought it out. Once you thought it out, it's no longer you was thinking. That's why there's this hesitation amongst those who think too much. So even thoughts, you have thoughts, but you never told somebody, these are my thoughts, unless you said it like I just now did. But you're not going to say, I thought you said, you're not going to put it like that, because you have to break it down in variances of what that is. So even the word thought being thoughting is a question. We don't really have a thoughting, so it's not, you have to keep your thoughts going constantly because your thoughts are already together. So you're not going to put it together like the ing, how we're thinking, putting it together. So when you get into Gemini, Gemini represents the circle. That's the mutual side of things. So you can go either this way or you can either go that way. Now, as a body part, this represents the ears. That's why they can hear a lot. And then they might hear things that's not there. So that's why hear and ear can represent the Gemini. They think with their ears. Taurus thinks with their nose. And Aries think with their eyes. This is the first 3 sections that's in the first, we call it the body. Your body is connected to the head. So when we say Allah, arm, leg, arm, head, this would be Ah, La, and then head would be at the top with the L and the A. So A-L-L-A-H, arm, leg, arm, head. Why do I put the L's here? Because they do an X in the body. The X crisscrosses. Your left leg matches up with your right leg. Your right leg matches up with your left leg. So you basically crisscross into the body. And if you've ever seen any type of pictures of the Kemet, old examples of the deity named Min, M-I-N, that's the resurrector. He basically have an X on his chest. This is why even Malcolm became an X. Even when you say the word sex, it's seed. It's really saying see the X. You're seeing your X. So don't label your X like most people do a bad thing. X is really marks the spot. So mark is represented like a tattoo. Tat meaning two. Tat meaning two. Ta is 2 tas in that energy. So when you hear ta, ta represents Ptah. That's Peter. We're going to get deeper on these words. Yeah, I just want get a little familiar how I'm talking right now, so I get down to the nitty gritty. All right, so we're getting down to the Cancer, and Cancer is a little bit different. Cancer happens to be another answer to what we call the water, how water is a reflection. So if you're able to see the R, first section of fear, you're in the first section of your head. If I said the eyes is Aries, Taurus represents the nose, and Gemini represents the ear, the last part of fear, which is the R, is Cancer, right? Cancer represents the body part as well, and that's the mouth. Now notice the mouth has lips, right? So between the lips is 2. It's like 2 times 2 equals 4, right? 2 plus 2 is still 4. So this X and the plus sign is different when we use it in my eye. Your X and your plus sign are 2 different symbols. The X happens to be the 120, 120, 120 I was talking about earlier. And the plus sign happens to be 90, 90, 90, 90. This is why it can be 360. So when people get confused by what I'm talking about, I'm not throwing nothing out that's already in front of you already, right? So Cancer represents I feel. So a lot of you people say in the beginning of whatever you want to say, it's like, I feel we need to go outside. And then you probably do, because that's the truth of it, and we have to either go by what you feel or what you don't feel. I feel you wrong, and you might have to say, yeah or no, I'm not wrong, so that's based on your family energy, how you based on in that shell, the she and he will, the shell, that's how you represent this energy of Cancer. Cancer represents the can-seer, and it's because of your skin, also major, because it's the whole body. And what did I say earlier? Your mouth. So your mouth mainly is the lips. Out of these lips, between that is the tongue. But that tongue happens to be another body part that's not connected to this body at all. And this is where it gets kind of tricky. So let's go into the next body. First, Taurus is your 2 right here. Taurus represents 2. Aries represent the 0-1, right? Taurus represent the 0-2. Gemini represents the 3 as 3rd house. Cancer represents the 0-4 as the 4th house. Yes.
So for someone that's listening that maybe not recognize what you're doing, can you explain it in maybe a simpler terms overall of what you're explaining and what you're breaking down?
Well, yeah, I was saying that this is basically you've been fearing God. And the only way you can face God is if you go within your own self as this fear of God. If not, God is in reverse, and it's called D-O-G. Now, if this is an acronym, looking at that, that's drugs, oil, and gold. Your body is gold. So your body, as far as melanin, is a strong melanin on your body. And because we can't get past this part right here, fear, fire, earth, air, rain, we can't get to the 5th section. Right now, this is your first section of your fear. And the real reason why we have one fear is based on somebody else's way of thinking. Oh, I fear dogs, or I fear cats. But if you never face the cat, this is why you fear the cat. So basically what I'm saying to anybody who's not catching on, I just did the news, and how news is basically north, south, east, and west. It's 4, it's acronyms. Fear is nothing but acronyms. If you don't start giving yourself a defined acronym ability to what these elements as well as these acronyms are doing, they're basically ruling you. And so it's better to see it as communication. How is the world communicating back to you? That's why I brought up the word Quran. It's not with a Q, it's with a K, O-R-A-N. And this is the real reason why, because it came out of the Moorish science. And from that you hear El, and you hear the word La, El and La. El is a divine, as La is a divine. We say divine masculine, divine feminine. Now, what messed us up is it made Ella, Hella, which is also Helen. So Helen is also how you throw stuff or how the weather is. Hell is what been broken down to where it became bigger again to Hellenistic. So if we don't see this, we've been taking on a Hellenistic approach to life. So, in other words, we don't know our left from our right. We don't know our left from our right. Left from our right. That left from our right is basically how some people learn how to do religion. Our left from our right was how some people switched it and said go from right to left. And this is how we have a secret society that's knowing more about you than you are about yourself. What's the devil? D-E-V-I-L, right? So that's L-I-V-E-D. If you're living backwards, that means you're the devil. That's just that easy. If you don't know God, then it's because you know the dog. Who's man's best friend? The dog, right? That's how you dog mom. You dog your mom by creating dogma to yourself. If your mother gave you the sound and she didn't have to tell you how to write it or what it looked like, you heard her say ain't it good? And you look at mom and be like you don't have to say is it good or not, you just said the sound so now she know in that expression of communication you register that thought. This is how we end up registering ourselves back to each other. This is a program. We've been programming ourselves. We didn't get our own program, even though this is in front of us all the time. So this is called hidden in plain sight. I'm putting your hair back on your head. Your hair of how you care instead of just having hair on your head. What most people end up doing is putting head wraps on their head to give themselves a recognition to being a higher self at all times. Not saying you got to be your highest self at all times. It's just a reminder so you won't get too low when you're getting down there, right? Did I explain it or no?
Now, when is that what you mean by when they say meet people where they at?
Yes.
That's kind of what they say that.
Yes. Yes. That's why it became a duel. The El and the La had a duel with each other. And now we're dueling each other. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be fighting man. Man should not be fighting woman. However, if you look at what's being done, we done made, see that word M-A-D-E, M-A-D-E to M-A-I-D. We made Ma a aid in the world. And made is Ma, but it's about that D-E, the Jed pillar. When Mom was create is with a K, not with a C, K-R-E-A-T-E. When she create, that's more than made. But now we got mermaid. Mer is just like Mr., a mystery. We don't know the truth until we see more of it. So now create is way different. I heard someone say, yeah, God created us. God created us as man. I get that. God created you as man. So now who's God? And that's where you're going to get stuck at. Because that's how dogma started. We're not here to dog your mama. We're actually here to show how we learn our first language from her. And after we learn the language, we also learn the language was the numbers. Was ma'at. Was this math that we're doing right now. This is like 4 combinations in one. You're learning your elements. You're learning the cardinal, fixed, or mutable points of our bodies and how we communicate. If I came out as Aries, I'm gonna be a cardinal way of thinking. So the only way I'm gonna think is logic. If I came out as Taurus, I'm gonna be fixed. The only way I'm gonna do it is by being fixed. Now, what's gonna be in this opposition as I'm doing these two right now, they might have feuds because it's dealing with 2, 1 and 2. Now, if I say you're first, and then I say you're second, how does that make you feel? If you're third. You see what I'm saying? So it was never about placements. Everyone has a value. 1 has a value, 2 has a value. It's not even about value, it's about validity. If you see the validity in you, you can see the validity in others. That's why the knowledge is to know thyself in order to have order. And that's how you get KO. Your rhythm has to have a flow with it. Just like how I was doing earlier. I was just giving you flowetry. I was using rhythms in the music. I was hitting instruments. That's like Star David. Star David is the 6-pointed star, which we're going to get to. We're getting there. We're almost there. But we have to start here just like you said, we got to learn this first. But go ahead. What you say, brother?
So okay. If someone with or people just getting out of religion, like they're just getting out of, maybe Christianity and different things of that nature, what would be the best step or a practice for them to study? Would it be Moorish science? Would it be Kemetic science? Like, would it be the Muslim? What do you think?
Well, when they said study thyself, you have to study thyself in everything. So if you're Christian, you had to find more of that. See what I wrote right here is Hellenistic. There's a Hellenistic dynasty. If you haven't learned that yet, you might as well tap on in before you tap on out. Because maybe you don't know why you're getting out. Maybe that's the reason why you didn't get out already. So looking at the Hellenistic dynasty will help you know, okay, this is more the reason why I think this ain't working for me. Even for the Quran, I said Quran with a K. Most people got the Quran with a Q. And if that's the case, you'll also get caught up into what we call Freemason situations. Why I say Freemason? The word is free my son. If they're not showing you how to free yourself, then this too is the tricknology. Right now, you might think I'm getting a lot of feedback or a lot of votes or something. This is not going to help my child grow up in this world, yet this is going to help my child grow up in this world. That's how it became tricknology. We didn't give this so that we didn't get nothing back, yet we gave this because we didn't want anything back. Y'all just happen to want to give us something. And that's what, as the brother said earlier about Moorish science, that's what the Moors actually did. They didn't want something in return. Y'all just happen to want to give them back something, and then we call it an exchange. That's why the X is in the word change. So if you want to go further than the Hellenistic dynasty, then go into the Moorish science. So you can compare your notes. It's always good to cross-reference. And if you say that, well, I'm into Quran, I'm not into, the Bible, find out how the Bible and the Quran work hand in hand. Because what I'm finding out now, Saturn as a sun is another sun, right? And then the book, Helios Biblios, is a sun. It's the little sun. So now, who's who? But then when I find further research into it, the crescent moon star, that represents the moon. So it really doesn't represent the sun. However, it still represents a form of a sun. Because think about the planets. If I said 9 planets, where's the moons at when you say this? Why is it that they put the moon in with one of the 9 planets? That lets you know it's a masculine and a feminine principle to what this earth that we're on being about. So it's just to clarify some things. Are you good so far on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically, some people got the cartoon of fingers being 4 fingers. They wanted to at least simplify. Then they even made them 3 fingers because they didn't want you to go too far into knowing yourself. Yet some people came to the earth with 6 fingers. And where did I get this information? It's from my seer, A-S-E-E-R, Duke of Tears, T-I-E-R-S. Now, the brother is phenomenal as far as looking up Tartarian, historian. He's a historian major, been in New York, went down, he's living in Florida now. So it's a lot about east to west and west to east and north and south that we have to still start to explain to ourselves better. Because basically this body that you're in is a compass. And the more you look at the compass of yourself, this top part will be known as the north. The bottom part will be your south. Where your heart is the east. And then the back, that's the west. So when you're actually on the land, you're going to start to feel something gravitate to you, and that's another form of communication. How are the planets aligning is also going to help with that as well. This is why you got a map. Everybody got a map. It's just that they're not using it. So the GPS, that's not the only map out there. That was for the AI, which is now the SI. We call it synthetic information. So now you got to go back to the AI, which is the advanced intelligence, and re-inform yourself, all right? So the first fire is right here, and that's Aries. The second fire happens to be Leo. That's the second fire, and it's known as the 5th house. Now, the 5th house happens to be now a triangle. Now look at that. It went from square to a triangle. These are 2 different bodies, the head and where your heart is at. Now, Gemini, when it split, it became a 3. Aries, let's go back to Aries. Aries is the whole beginning, right? But it's got horns on its head. We always see the Aries with horns. It's a ramification. Aries got horns on his head. But doesn't Taurus also have horns as well? So now your Taurus and your Aries have 2 horns, but the third one does not have horns. Gemini does not have horns, yet it has arms. So that's why Gemini represent not only your ear, your arms, and your shoulders. This is how you get armory. This is where your armory comes from. So when they say army, that's how army became a part of this military mindset. So our 4th would be the rib cage. See, from 3, I'm going to put 1 as the head, right? Because Aries is in charge of that. 2 will be the throat, because that's Taurus. Taurus is your throat because it's based on 2 sides, the left and the right. And then, of course, 4 is, when I said 2 times 2 is 4, that's Cancer. Cancer is where your breastplate is for your heart. So your heart is basically in a rib cage. Cancer is protecting your heart, while Leo is the heart. Leo is your second fire, but the first commander to the second body. And what I mean by second body is from your armpits down to your torso. This is what we're doing right now is a part of the anatomy. There's really, you have to get into ruling yourself by knowing anatomy, astrology, and astronomy. When I say astronomy, we're basically talking about how the planets align. But when I talk about astrology, I'm talking about how the planets align with you. And then when I'm talking about anatomy, that's how your body is to everything. So this is how like your trinity, you got mental, physical, spiritual. Well, you get PMS, SMP, MPS. All of these are connected as acronyms still, but it's a flip in how it's changing every 3 days to 2.5 days to third day procession to now 2 weeks to 3 weeks to now 2 weeks going on 3 weeks to 4 weeks, a whole major change. And then from 2 months to 3 months, a whole major change. And this is how you're starting to revolve around north, south, east, and west, just like recent We just had the south wind change the atmosphere. Now all of a sudden it was raining, and it was raining for a minute. It didn't stop either. It was like the next day, the next day, the next day. And so this is how you're learning. You're in a section of the body. We're on the section of this body. When you jump, are you in the earth or are you on the earth? Go ahead, somebody answer that. Taking a minute, huh? How you thinking now? Am I in the earth or on the earth?
Oh, God. You know, we used to do these films all the time, God. You know, I love this.
Yeah. So when you think of, are you on the earth? If you jump, just like how you jump, you're in the air. So really, you can't be on the earth. You in the earth. This is how we know it's not just a universe. It's an inverse. An inverse. You're in the verse with you. You're having an inverse connection to your body. This is why you're earth link. You're earth linking to the earth. Earth. What is earth? E-A-R. There's that ear. T-H. Right? But earth is also H-E-A-R-T. So your earth and your heart. That's why Leo's in charge of the heart, even though it's still connected to your earth. This is how you start to become earth linking when you have more heart for the earth. Now, most of us that don't, you'll be stuck in that one triangle. It's called fixed. Fixed. That's with the ED, not fixed. Fixed means you're fixing it. Fixed means you already done it. I done did it. It ain't work. I done tried that. Been there, did that. That's what you're saying. Oh, I'm fixed. Oh, you fascinated or you fixated on something. You don't want to be that way. Leo represents I will. Now, the I will also represents perfect. Now, I know most people don't like to hear that word. And that's what we got to get back into. You are perfect. You're the best gift ever. You are present. That's what makes you a gift. Now, of course, you're saying, but the past, see how I said butt? Butt is the shoulders and how I put my butt on my shoulders. When we say, but the past, I always see myself, always is a definite word. You don't want to put a definite or a prominent word to your present unless it's for optimistic reasons, to throw the real in there so you can be more real when you get there. See what I'm saying? So why am I bringing that up? Leo is O-L. It's the O-L. So if you don't know the O-L, you being a hello. You're being a hello. You're being an O-L and a hello. If you don't see your heart, basically your heart has to be light as a feather. If not, you measured your feather wrong. You've been measuring your skin wrong. Skin is derma. D-E-R-M-A. Derma. Derma is also D-R-E-A-M. Dream. Derma and dream. That's the same thing. You take the K out of skin, your sin. So your sinus, that's your nose. Your sinus is your sin, right? The psi also represents PSI. So when it comes down to pi or phi, your pi circle must be how you measure. See, the Masons came up with this, but also Moors. And this is how we learn how to navigate towards ourselves to better ourselves. And C. Freeman L., powerful man who I got the Quran from, look him up. I consider him like my granddad that I didn't get to speak much to. And I had both of them on both sides, so I did get a chance to at least see what one was doing at the same time. So, okay, we into the body. We went to the fifth part of the body, the fifth house. That's the heart. Heart is your earth. This is how your heart is now and your mind connect. Mental is your mind. So man and mind are mental. Man is not just representation of man. Man is representation of manifest. So mental is M-E-N, right? M-E-N-T-A-L. N. So they said man, M-A-N. So we put a man or a men. When you put a to separate from men, this is how you end up.
You say, God, come on, man. I love that.
Uh-oh. This is how you represent your X-Men.
I love that, G. I love that. That's brick and mortar.
Yes, I am. Because see, we were knowing the triangles were 4 parts, not just 3. But when they put an X in a box, it became a check in a box. This is how we became a man. Now we just a man, separated from men, all men, all men, all men, all men. Just like we eat almonds, all men. The all men is a sound, but it's also how it's phonetically said to more all. You know, morals, you have different morals. That's your mentality. How your morals is going to help the what we call Philo and Sophia philosophy. That's from what's the brother? Dr. Astrology. He was breaking that down a lot. He kept throwing that in my face, and I was like, yeah, I got to get in tune with this. This is where it's at. So we talking about 5 going into 6. This is where the mix start. Virgo. Virgo represents the oval. Some might still say it as a circle. And it's an element known as earth. So we're in our first, we done passed this sphere. Now we're into the second sphere. As we get to the 5th house, that's where your heart at. 6 is where the belly is at, and how the umbilical cord connect to the 6. You can also see 6 and 9 from this point. That's why they use Cancer a part of this. Because usually when you think of a body has to be like a belly. So they say belly of the beast. That's where you hear the belly in the belly of the beast. You can, what they say, can soothe the savage beast. Now what is that we're talking about? Music. Music. So this earth now is really the 6-pointed star. Because you got the 5-pointed star, right? As Leo, but the 6-pointed star is the star of the Megan David. Megan David. The Megan David represent David. David was also known as one who was good with music. And David also could be a divider, if not know it. So that's why the times, or should I say the plus sign, has a dot above and a dot under it. And that's really a minus sign. This is where you see that minus and divide is a part of David being Daniel. We didn't see Daniel come out the den, but we also heard about Daniel come out the den. At the age of 8, he was sent in. This is why 7 is important. Where is 7? We're going to get to that in a second. As Virgo is anal eyes, they got to analyze without being an anal eyes person. And what I mean by that is find the inspire. The inspire. Because see, when 6 becomes 7, because we were talking about why 6 scared of 7, 7 became heaven. And 7 also represents the upside down L. And the I is, of course, is you. So the L and I, be what? Be raw. So Libra represents the scales. How the scales. So you tic-tac your way back to heaven. You tic-tac your way actually to heaven, which is in the back of the head. Front side now into what we call the third eye, the first eye, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, the olfactory. If you really look at anatomy, those who do massage, you'll be really hip to this already. If you're not, go ahead and take massage school. That's going to help you really. I know I did. It helped me out. I'm doing it right now. So the olfactory, you got a cerebellum. Yes.
Hey, my apologies, pardon self.
Yeah.
And when you say the first eye or Now, can you elaborate on that more? And is that considered people's what they call Osai?
Yes, that's what I was going to get to. When you tap into Aries and Taurus, because that's the cerebellum and the cerebrum. The cerebellum will be the top. I think I'm saying that right. And the cerebrum be at the bottom. Either way, you'll know. Aries is at the top, Taurus is at the bottom. When we finally eat right, feel right, think right, have yourself in a proper feeling, and as you see it, you will feel it. So now, this is how you will analyze it. This is where the mix of six. This is why the word sex and six is really close to where now that's your 7. How do you go to the spine from spineless? So when you're in the spineless, you're like a snake. But when you're able to come up off the snake, feeling on the ground, that's the king cobra. That's why the cobra is put up there to give you what we call the God form. That's in the middle of the forehead. And we call it the pituitary, the hypothalamus, and the pineal gland. These are 3 realms that meet. Gemini meets there. Who else? Libra meets there. Aries meet there. And Pisces also meet there. This is where, and Sagittarius. They all basically are connecting the neurons, and your neuromelanin start to spread. This is why you got instant messengers. And this is why it's very important to learn how to clean that out. If you don't clean it out, it's been clogged. And how they clogged it up is by bacteria, parasites, basically metal. So don't become an Iron Man. That's what I was getting about with the man. Man is not male. Don't ever call yourself that. If you're doing that, you're putting a spell to yourself. So do yourself a favor. Don't say M-A-I-L or M-A-L-E. Don't say male is you. Because male, just like M-A-I-L, is a post. Like you're a post delivery man. Now you're a postal man. And now you're a mailman. That means you're just like a postal person and didn't even know it. So adding these concepts of spells is putting us back into a hole or, hell. This is why you don't want to be in a dark hole, hell conversation by saying you're male and female. Listen to the word female. Fe is an iron. So now you're calling her an iron male. That's a terrible letter to give to someone. So the idea of how we are passing messages is really a massage. We are messiahs. So learn how to speak with the poetic side versus I'm just be poor and pull it out. We poet. So we got to be more poetry in yourself with the Trinity. Put the Trinity back in. You put the Trinity in, you can help out everybody else with the idea of how to balance thyself. So as I was saying, balance thyself. Libra is I balance. Oh, speaking of balance, I need to put this on something. Share something. I balance. I'm giving I balance. And also justice. Because you got to justify yourself. Now, sometimes we look at justice being that it's just ice. So it ended up being a cold shoulder just to get your point across that you still had to get it out because it's not about that person's feelings, it's about yours. So when you see that how things are done, sometimes it's done with blind justice. Now, remind yourself, if it's blind justice, that means you don't only got but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and missing the 6 and 7 of the elements, or should I say 7 of the chakras that you're working with. One of them is missing, and that's the eyes. So there might be 5 out of 6 that helped you get the idea of what's going on. Yet, even with the 6, it gives you now more of an empathy and sympathy. So that's why the belly of the beast was always introduced to us, so that we wouldn't think this is spirit. Your 6 is your spirit, but it's also your spiral.
This phone is about to die.
So inspiration is just like the snake. The snake represents ask. So as a Libra, it gives you aspiration. This is how you aspire yourself. So 6 was to inspire yourself. So now, the only thing you do now is get higher of yourself. And that's where higher is. Higher. How do you hire yourself? By becoming 8. You have to relate from the air of Libra, which was a square. Now it's a double square. What you about to say? To how in the fire, earth, air, the last one would be rain. Talking about, right? The triangle now is how many triangles? 1, 2. Now the third triangle. So when we put 3 triangles together, it's 1, 2, right? And the 3. There's a triangle within the triangle within the triangle. Now, how did that happen? I don't know, but this is how the world is revolving in triangles. We triangulate. We triumphant. Now, most people say try like T-R-Y. T-R-Y. It should be T-R-I. Vowels are interchangeable. If we look at this as saying X, Y, Z, 26, this would be 25. This represents 7. So this I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, we go all the way down, H, I, we're going to say this is 18. 18 is still 9. This is higher than that 7, which is lower. This is why it's important to learn. You can get to 7. 7 has to be your shadow, the darkness. But when you want to be better, so this is why is 6 scared of 7. 7 is a reality, but it's a reality you're ready to be checked. Not saying it's over, right? So when we get into Scorpio, which is scorching, Scorpio is part of fire, but it's also about that PO, that fire within the water, is how I relate. Now we say relate like you ate it. You know that word ate? So also relay, like you lay in it. So this is how it can become a relay in Scorpio. Some people don't like being in a relay. They get pissed off, they get mad, they get wow. And then of course that's why, because it's a desire. When you have to relate to it. You don't want to relay, but you do want to relate, so you want to just desire. This desire is, well, who you want to hire? You got to become the hire. H-I-G-H-E-R. You got to become the hire. And this is how the vowels or numbers been almost like it's been tricked. Like we put 1. If I put a 1, right? Same way I put 1. I put a 1 upside down. It's going that way and that way. This is an 8. So if I did a 2 going this way, right? Or I go this way and go that way, then that circle, this is a 2. It's an 8. What you're going to find out is all your numbers, when you double it, you'll find out it's an 8. All the numbers going to end up at 8. And so the magic behind that just is 5 plus 4 is 9, right? But then when you do 9 plus 9 is 18, but it's still 9. That's how you find out when you use 9, the multiple will go back into itself. So this is what's important about your next fight, the last fight.
So,
Good.
my apologies, boy. So,
You're good.
so this is like the different TIERS tiers of the anatomy of knowledge of self, of knowing that.
Yes.
Are we just basically walking through different chambers of the brain and the mind?
Right, angles like this
Yes.
because
Yeah, we're doing all
the
3 at
charger.
once. Like, this is going to still help you on a planet-wise way of looking at things. How we're on the earth or in the earth wise looking at things. Because whatever the earth is going on with, you are also. So this will help you with that as your own map. We have symbols that have been put out a long time ago. So whether it's been a 1-pointed star, 2-pointed star, 3-pointed star, 4-pointed star, 5-pointed star, and how we became these stars ended up having shapes as a star. So what they did was put stars in boxes. So as the 5-pointed star came out, we had a pentagon or a pentagram. So now we go from pentagram, hexagram, and we keep going. So when we say tetrahedron, you actually start to see why is that so symbolic to one of the zodiacs as a house, because that's the house of that actual. And that way you could benefit wearing it or having it in your foundation, put it in your car, make it an orgonite. And this is what, we're going to fall all the way down to why I'm even here and what's my purpose. And even then with the devices, which is another reason why we got to do right here with the last fire. That fire is fire in the square, right, which is cardinal. Then that second fire was Leo, which is a triangle, which is fixed, right? And this last fire is a fire that's an oval or a circle, which is mutable. So all of these fires has one is a square, one is a triangle, one is a circle. Same way with Taurus, you're gonna find out one is a triangle, one is a square, one is a circle. And so each one has, like as far as, let's say if it's a fire, it's gonna have one of them that basically thinks logically the whole time, while the other one is fixed. It might be creativity or logic. And then that last one is, I can go either way. So when you put them all in a room, you start to see how they're actually talking. That might be the one speaking first because it's physical. Fire represents physical. So if the Sagittarius is speaking, what is going to make the Sagittarius speak is because it represents I see. And not just see with the eyes, but like they see with the water and the actual C, CEE. These levels of commerce and ceremonies, anything that started with a CE, the E is just an infinited sound. That's why they made letters so short vowel or long vowel that we get confused when we see it again. Like, why is there an extra letter there? But it's emphasizing the long sound of it. So C, you use the letter C, but to actually see it, sometimes we don't. That's why the letter C is actually used to give us another way of thinking and not knowing that's how we're thinking. Like when I say church, it's not the same as cake, but yet the C is there. So you have to actually see the word. So that's what they gave us. In the beginning was the word, yet that's how they confuse us at the same time. Is sound. Sagittarius represents the hip, H-I-P. So the hip, if I put S on it, it's ship, S-H-I-P. So it's your ship that you need to see with. We're talking about going back to your first fire, your second fire, and now your third fire can be all in this alignment. When the sun hits you, it's either is like it hits you on your face, then all of a sudden it's at the top of your head when you got up, and it's not going to your feet, but then it's basically only at your feet when you laying down by the time it's going down. It depends on what you're doing. That's why I was saying as far as the elements. Your sun, all your fire signs could be in alignment with the sun, or you out of time. Every time you got up, lay down, got up, lay down, you just off in alignment with the sun, the moon, the other planets. So this is why this can be important. How do you use your trinity versus just try? The try with it. This Y is really the pyramid. That's why they made the Y so easily. It's a pyramid, and there's 3 sevens in that. That's 21. You reach 21, you actually are getting into the 25 era. The 21 to 25 is where the box, see this box that we put down? The box represents only 4 sides. But when it has a triangle on top of it, it's like saying you got the triangle and the square together. And that's what 25 cent really represents. See, if I said 24 cent, it'll still be in the square. But that 1 digit over changes it. So that's why they made it a circle, and it's a quarter, but it's saying 2 and 5, which is still 7. You're still reaching a balance in yourself. It's only if you use numerology, astronomy, astrology, anatomy, and then your own math, where you see how all. And I know it can be sound confused to the person that hasn't learned any of this. However, if you just begin, just start. Like I didn't start with all of this. This start coming to me over time and more. You know, I've been doing this constantly, so now I know why I'm saying it because it has why I'm not saying it. So we're gonna get the cap. All right, go ahead, bro.
One, so this is like recommend mixed with shadow work. It's for shadow boxing.
Yes.
It's
yes.
like a different version of like a different form. When people think about shadow work, they're more thinking about cleaning up something. This is more of the opposite side of the alchemic chemicals of what makes up the shadow.
That's right.
Etc.
Yeah, because when you think of fire, earth, and air, that's like saying solid, liquid, and gas. By the time you get to Cancer, you're changing that. That's the alchemy. So that's why fire, earth, and air, they can be solid, liquid, and gas, but then when you switch up with the water, you're going to end up switching this, which is no longer solid anymore. This is gas. And this is solid, because it's the earth. And now, this is what's the liquid. Liquid would be now Libra. But how does Libra be liquid when it's air? Libra does change it. It vaporizes. That's why 7 is vaporizing, going to the head, waking you up again. How you realize now how to balance your left and your right. How you move your left leg to your right leg. Your left leg to your right arm, and your right arm to your left leg. This is how the body now is connected to the bottom, which that's important right now. What we're heading to from Sagittarius, your hips, to your kneecaps, because Capricorn represents your kneecaps. And you have to have this. Your knee is your cap of yourself. So it's a captain of yourself. Your needs also are in there. Because kneecap represents IUs as far as the Capricorn. The Capricorn represents IUs. Now why would I say that? Is because it has the ability to be the captain and it knows its usefulness. It knows about useless, uses, user, us, USA, that whole connection. And to go tap a little further, let's go back to Scorpio, where the I relate. Some of us I relate to tradition, but it's really about condition that got us caught up. So now we need to change our tradition from that condition that got us caught up. Because you could be, I caught a cold. Why do you want to catch a cold? If anything, catching it is like being sick for a reason. You're getting it out, not you putting it in. So it's basically exiting that energy. So that's the idea of negative and positive. What do you think about it? Is it just negative and positive? Should be pessimistic. And then also, one that's pessimistic. And then there's also optimistic.
It broke a little bit because I know you do electrical foods. You'll probably do this on part 2. How was being that you talk about the laws of the universe first and foremost, and then you went it down to the laws of nature. So how does the food come into play whenever you get to it?
Well, that's good right here because Capricorn, when we're eating food, is effective like Cancer. Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer. So whatever you eat is based on how you feel. And if you're eating it right, you can improve your FIELD field. So your aura, we might not know it, but on the average, we say it's 5 colors. 6 and 7 is 2 different shades of blue. You see what I'm saying? So really, we got 5 basic colors. And if you eat the 5 basic colors, the 6 and 7 will automatically pop up. What I've heard about is in our chakras, we've been traumatized or dramatized before we got to the age of 6. So usually by the time we get to Virgo, I analyze, you didn't get to analyze. And you have to relearn it, reset it, shadow work it, so that, like what we're finding out is, a lot of our zodiac signs are based on foods. So we got cellulose salt foods for every zodiac sign. And so if you were traumatized by your mama or traumatized by your daddy, and y'all both, all y'all been traumatized, we're going through life all the way to the age of 21, and you realize by 25 you want to eat different. And that's you kicking out your own third, because see, you have 3 sevens already when you're at 21, right? So the 2 sevens is based on your mom and your dad. When you say, okay, where's my third one? And that's you based on from 14 to 21. And when you're able to, now I'm no longer eating their foods, let me find out what I need to start eating. And that in itself, see, I know we think that someone got the control of you as your time, but you also have the control of yourself in that time. That's called Libra. So how do you balance yourself is going to be important at 25. Really important if you haven't gotten it already, right? So we would say Black Lives Matter. No, we say healthy food matter. You know what I'm saying? So you want to look at how healthy you're eating. Take out the soy. Soy is a major thing in our role of how we've been getting caught into it because of estrogen and testosterone. So if you see any soy in the ingredients, toss it to the side. Even for myself, I've had to like look at it again. My significant showed me that natural flavor isn't a good thing. And I was like, oh, I got caught again. And it's like, yeah, going back to the basics. What is natural flavor? It sounds like flavor to me. It sounds like nothing natural at all. So Capricorn, being a captain of your own ship, which is Sagittarius, how do you see it? Don't see it first thing and then go to the, how they say it, loosen the lips, sink in the ship, or sink in the hips. So you know this is, I'm going to go down with the ship as the captain. That's your, what we call earth material, matter. So you got to really be stern with yourself. That's why it takes the steering wheel. Stern is the captain. Captain is like Captain Kirk. Captain is the horns. This is the last horn sign. So this is really one of the primary thinkers here, just like Aries is, just like Taurus is. So when you run into these, they're going to be the primary, I got to figure this out, whether it be physical, whether it be non-physical. Because see, Aries is physical, Earth isn't. That's material. But along with Capricorn, that's also material. So that's why Virgo is important on how you analyze it, which is Earth, which can be also material. But it's based on spirit and spiral and inspire or aspire, which is coming out. And that's how you got to really alchemize. You got to start wanting to alchemize yourself. Don't stay on one zodiac. Look at the whole zodiacus wheel. So I'm going to get the air. Air is Aquarius. I already told you Capricorn represents the kneecaps and the IUs. So now that you know your usefulness, right, you can now become Aquarius. Which, from Sagittarius, is also connected to the neurological system way up there. This is where Gemini also connects to Sagittarius. They both are circles. And
So
if you,
excellence, this is like the superpowers of self.
that's right.
Right.
That's
It's
it.
a superpower of self, right? Yeah.
This your holistic healing self. So yeah, we're calling it holistic, as you get that from Miss Myra Moss. She broke down holistic was the 6th of the zodiacs, meaning that each one had a complementary zodiac connected to them. So if I was Aries, I need to know Libra. If I was Taurus, I need to know Scorpio. If I was Gemini, I need to know Sagittarius. If I was Cancer, I need to know Capricorn. And don't say, oh, I don't like Capricorn. Don't be doing that. That's like saying, I don't like my knees. So you got to actually, don't destroy your body part as you're talking to them. They actually are just like how you on the earth, you're actually in the earth. Well, you in one of them too. You in the other person. So you don't want to destroy that person by downplaying that energy of that person. Just look at it, if you're Aquarius and you say, oh, I know how that person is. You don't want to actually say, I know how this one is. You might be, oh, I know how certain Sagittariuses are. However, this one might be different. Keep the optimistic role going. We got pessimistic, optimistic, negative, and we also have positive. That's why it's 4 sides to the street, not 2. If you can get out of the duel, you'll be better off. All right, so I'm going to get down to the ankles. The ankles is, because Capricorn represents the kneecap. The ankles is what Aquarius represent. Pisces, they represent the feet. And they're an oval or a circle. And their last section will be of the brain. They represent the body as the feet. So most people don't know that. So that's why they don't know what they actually be, become, or believe, be lie. Because they might want to lay down, or be lie of Eve. Because now it's not about even, it's about you putting it on Eve instead. The real reason why we're having these issues and most people are still not connected is because we have this, what we call now, like 13th house. 13th house been in since 2012. Some of us know about it. The 13th house represented all the houses. You already knew it because it was Jesus sitting with 12 disciples. So they really was telling you 13. They didn't want to say it to you because if they said that, it would be, I have to tell you that there's 13 moon cycles, not months. We've been working with 12 months. It's important to learn the 12 months, but that's just on a basic level. But if you want to learn your mother, you got to learn the 13 moons to your mother. In order for you even to have a woman, you can't have a woman. Women don't want to have you.
Hold on, bro. My apologies.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
How important, because we're going to cover this on the King's Lounge. How important for us to know the moon line up with our women, our sister, mother, daughter, our lovers, etc.
You said, how is it what? Say it again, Brian.
No, like I say, how important is it for us, as men and their roots, to know and be aligned with it as far as the moon cycles and different things with our women, as far as our moms, sisters, our wives, and different things of the nature of Earth.
Yeah, I don't want to be long-winded on it, yet this is where I feel like there's a lot of disturbance going on the earth or in the earth, and we haven't really talked about it at all on a bigger scale, like as above, so below, as so below in the middle. A lot of us decided to either fear having our hair being natural, or we just decided to change our hair altogether because we went past fear and ended up hating. The opposite of fear is hate. The opposite of fear is hate. We'll say the opposite of good is evil. But the fear, once you in it so much a hate, that's why you feared it. So it's not to say the opposite of love would be hate. The opposite of love would be fear because you didn't know it. And because we don't know it, a lot of us as men didn't grow up seeing that women have menstrual cycles. And you hear the word men and menstrual and men's thrill. We don't even know how she ovulates. And that's a magical moment. And we still having that conversation. Me and my significant was doing that conversation earlier. It was like, okay, we got to figure this out because us on average don't know. Is it that the woman is on the new moon or the full moon? Is it a waning? Is it a waxing? These are the 4 sections I was also speaking on that'll help you. Why am I bringing up the 13th zodiac? Because it's called universal. This will help you with a universal way of thinking. The 13th zodiac represents Mami Wata. Now, through time, I didn't know what this was about. I did not know it at all. I didn't know at all what this was about. But I had to look it up. And then I saw somebody imitate this same name. You've seen it as Wawa. That's known as Mama. I've seen it at Starbucks. I didn't know that was Mami Wata. But looking on it online, you see the sister, and then you see the imitator. And of course, the hair is green on this, but it represents serpentine as the snake. So there's a lot about our serpentine people, serpent, how we have the Kundalini rise, as we were talking about earlier about the God form in the third eye or the first eye. That's those who are aware. A lot of mothers are already mothers before they even had a child. This is what that 13th tribe really represents. The 13 really represents the letter B in the Pisces, IB. We don't know what IB is till you do it. And the 13th has 2012, a lot of doers. So resident, they've been playing us with the 13 tribes right in front of our face, not knowing the 13 tribes also are 13 houses. What's missing out of it is learning the 14th what they call it, perpetual calendar. Please look it up. I have a book if you're interested to come in here. I'll lead you right on in. It's called Kupi Ngami. Kupi Ngami. This basically means spiritual warrior. Kupa and Gumi. Okay. And because it's important is there's a 14 vibratorial way that we've been breaking down the calendar. And it's called a calendar. It's a calendar, which is also called ender to some those who don't know. So you wasn't born one day, but you was born in a year. And that year is very much you. Now, how would you know it? Is based on, like I was talking about, the 12 months, which is connected to your 13 moon cycles. And once you're knowing it, you actually can go back in time, which we were talking about. We don't really want to do past and be present. Well, on this you do, so you can see how the present works for you, right? This is your map again. So how we use that is that we put the actual date that you're on of the year. In this book, it'll show you what page and everything on how to find your vibratorial number. And there's actually 14 vibratorial numbers we are connected to. Now, the reason why they didn't want to tell you about 13, it represents the 13th house. It represents Ophiuchus, for those who don't know, or Ficus, but the peanut and the Ngala. So I know most people saw it and said, what is that? That represents the circle, and they had a little scepter and the wings, basically, on both sides, and then they had the snake going around it. And most people know it from the doctor and how he came up with his own. Well, this is for me helping you as a physician. Well, technically, this is really the ankh and ma'at. The wings are ma'at with the ankh. So now it's time for you to know how all of these things are still the all without separating it. A lot of us got into the history but didn't know her story or the heritage behind it. So Mami Wata, that happened in 2012. And I'm one of those that had to experience it, having a child after 2012. This is where the 13th zodiac is explained and how from the 12 houses or the 12 zodiacs that we know it, someone got all the zodiacs, and that's that 13th zodiac. Not only we would think Pisces having all the, body parts in the feet, the hands also got all the body parts, and the head also got all the body parts. And this is why we call that Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. So now we're getting into how to match everything back together. 13 is 6 and 7. So your 6, once you cut in half, like the body, starts here at the belly, 6-month birth to 9-month birth, they try to take the baby out. That's why this is important. 5, you was physical alive. 6, you was spiritual alive. 7, you about to reach heaven, or you can reach hell. And that's where they started right here. The 8 is how to relate back into infinite, going back infinite. You are an infinite being. The numbers going to always equal up to 8 as far as putting one number on top of the other. And then when 9 comes in, it's the magical alignment of how 9 months birth, you came out to create your other new assignment of learning 10, 11, 12. Now 10, 11, 12 happens to be the last 3 months or first 3 months you knew nothing about. And so once you learn that, you're going back to the inside, which is you and I verse all. That's universal, and this is why it became a university. We go to the 13th grade, which is from 12th grade to college, and that's your 13. Your patah, happens to be your penthouse, and we didn't know that either. So when they changed the 12 levels into a building, and they came with a 13th level, they call it a penthouse. But that again is patah. And this 8, they try to give you a lot of familiarities, and we wouldn't know it. So now it's up to us as those who are already navigating can give it up. So we'll know whenever we see it. We don't have to be stuck in being stupid by ignorance from what they call it, because it's called a handicap. It's not called being stupid. The word stop also is patas, P-T-O-S. So patas, and it's an 8-section octagon to stop at a stop sign. But the real reason why they stop you is to say you didn't stop at the stop sign, but you didn't stop for the honor of what they call patas or patak. And patak represents their father, as in the 8th father. Now, it's not me that came up with this stuff. You can look it up. What is the 8th gods they look for? Or what are the 4 gods that they actually said are known as Caesar, as Julius, right? July, Juno, Septimus, Augustus. Those are all 4. And when you break down the 7 on 8 months left, that's how you find out. This is why they created a calendar over your calendar. They didn't want you to be in your own time. They wanted to take over your time and have you serve them. So that's like calling it seconds when you're first. This is why it became Roman numerals, right? And they gave you first, second, third, fourth. They didn't even give you a 0. So now they're telling you don't be associated to your mother. And if you jump into my society, I definitely don't want you to bring your mother's habits into my house. So that's why Mommy Watson was changed to Ophiuchus, so that the domination over the womb is what's being done. So when we're talking about 6, Virgo became a virgin, and then 7 is to balance yourself. Well, if you marry somebody, you would say, I do. And that's really what I do is, 13. You're 13 zodiac. So when you're saying that, you're putting your balance along with, like I said, the Star of David or the 6-pointed star is the Megan star. You're putting these 2 combinations together. Not knowing this though. So this is how we get caught up in what we say contract, consent, and how consent and contract are basically put together. Law is you cannot break the law. But the moment you do, you're basically, you pass away. But you can always break the rules and the regulations because that's not law. This is how you're starting to see what law is. This is the law that you've been in the land of. Law. Land, air, and water is law. So to actually change it and say you're a part of the L in the DNA, that land, L in the DNA, is still land. But we don't know about our own landing. We've been abroad. Birth to land. When you say be earth land, you've been connected as birth to the land, but you was already born. Your spirit is already a soul. It's only when your soul became spirit, that's when they're talking about physicality, when you're having spirituality to physicality. So if anything, I recommend those who don't know thyself, times 3 is your age, times 3. Once you find that, write it down. Let's say you're 30. 30 times 3 is 60, right? Then divide that by 12. When you divide that by 12, you get 5, right? Am I saying it right?
That
Yeah.
was 90.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said times 3 or plus 3?
Divide by 12.
I'm saying you said 30 times 3 or plus 3.
Oh, times 3.
Okay.
All right, so you got 60 out of that, right? And then you divide that by
3 times 3 is 90. 90.
oh 90.
No, I was keeping up. Yeah, we were saying it was. Yeah, we just keeping up with the math. We showed it was 90.
Oh yeah. No, I was saying you want to times it first. Oh, let's just do it. All right, let's just do it. 3 times 30 is. Oh, that's what you were saying. It's 90. Okay, I got you. All right, so now 90 divide by 12, and you get what, 8? No, 7. 14. 1. No, yeah, 84. All right, so 7 along with 6. So you got 7 years and 6 months. It was 90. 90 was the months. But since you divided it by 12, you're now knowing that 7 years and 6 months is missing to yourself. Every year you say it's your birthday. Yet you are taking away from yourself 3 months every year. This what makes it. Wait, what? I didn't even pay attention to this. Well, you wasn't paying attention to 1 plus 1 either. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, well, why is 1 times 1 1? Why did it go backwards? It's only when that symbol got there, we got confused. The symbol is now confusing us. But you know, 1 times yourself is like saying I'm 3 times myself, not 1. So this is where the confusion starts at. And we have to start amusing ourselves. Don't keep confusing yourself. When I said 3 months is missing to yourself, times that 3 months to whatever your age is, right? Find the months that you're missing, and then you're going to divide that by 12. This is how many years you got to go back, right? Into that, maybe before my mama had me stage, and look at that. Look into it. Shadow work it. Work it out to where you're now even slate by the time you get to that next year. And when you get to the next year, don't celebrate your physical birthday yet. Celebrate your spiritual before you got here into the physical birthday. Huh? Do that part. Then, when you physically here, I bet you're going to feel a difference. I know I have already. So, that's my take on that. Basically done. If you got any questions, go ahead.
Nah, questions, God. Excellent show, excellent first concert. Whatever we got done,
Yeah. Good, thanks. I actually want to go over some of the crystals that I got, and then we'll just close out on some drumming. But I did bring some crystals over here so y'all can get an idea of what each, certain section of the body helps out crystals. So if you're eating ice, it's crystals. So if you're drinking water, it's really crystals. It just had to be liquidated. So when we think solid, liquid, and gas, these are what we call crystals too. Eating foods, that's crystal. This plasma TV, plasma phone is crystals. So if you think about how frequencies are used, it's used by using different type of crystals to break it down. Now, whether it's solid, liquid, or gas, that's what you need to majorly find out what works better for you. And as we say, solid, liquid, gas, that's only three. Now, from KT, the arts degree, he gave me a good analogy about solid, liquid, and gas. He brought up easy line. The easy line represents your alchemist side. That's why every time it goes into 4 sections, it has an ability to alchemize and change. That's why I was saying about how the X and the plus sign. When we put, I'm gonna write this and then I'm done. When we put the X, like we said, see the X as in sex or sex, the word X, in the middle of this X is a synergy. Same thing with the plus sign, it's a synergy energy. Now, the only thing is, this is on a flat form. Even though it's considered as a platform, it's still a flat form. When I actually put something on the ground and I draw this out, your imagination will kick in this center for some reason. And that's how we start mound building. We didn't mound build off of this flat T. We mound build off of how the square, right, has a triangle on the top. The 3 plus the 4, and there's your 7. So 7 wasn't just as they call it a shadow. 7 was represented as steps to heaven. This is what we get from our Mexican people. We call our Awak people, that side of the indigenous side, another version of the Moors. We learn how the step pyramid was the step to heaven. So this is where the twist got up and it got put back down. I believe it was 520 feet, the highest temple ever being made, and it got dropped to 480 due to the fact the top part, it was broken off by the weatherization. So when it came down to how to make a pyramid, they had to learn how to do it in steps first, not the slant. The slant was second, or the slant could have been first, but it had to go back into doing the steps again so that you can see in steps how I can put another top and now I can create the slant. So there's a lot of conversation of what came first, the pyramids over here or the pyramids over there, and I'll leave that up to you. But they did talk about the heights, and the height was highest over here before they started building the pyramids over there. And that's the other take that I got on how, we are all across the land. And this is how Moors became Moors, Muurs, or Maurs, even Mohr. I'm actually from, or Muhr. Not to say I'm from anything, because you're from your mother. Yet I originated in Frankfurt, Germany as a hospital, and that was in East Germany. So when we look at the ley line and how they align, Germany aligns with New York, and that's why a lot of the people that's in New York have the same, as we would think in Germany, frequency of changing and also being modified by the new technology, things like that, and how we got reverse engineering. All that came from there, and that will help you as well, as they say, a form of navigation. So yeah, like I said, you got any questions, let me know. I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this table up right, pull my crystals up right quick.
Everything cool. Gratitude. Time is gratitude.
Give thanks, brother. All right, so the first item is right here. You can see that I have clear crystal I got a carnelian in there. I got the pink. Is that pink? No, that's amethyst up top. The carnelian helps with if you have relationships as an issue. This can help your inner side of yourself get better to have confidence. And I have a grounder at the bottom. So that also helps for navigation on your group, how to be able to get rid of negative energy, and that's the onyx. I do have some pink rose quartz at the bottom as well to help what we say sensuality, because sometimes we need more love towards just having self-attitude kind of love, you know what I mean? I do have copper lock jewelry. This is a green adventure ring. It's going to help with fortune, whether you have emotion issues, whether you just need prosperity, just you can place that on your hair. And I've actually seen somebody just braid their hair, and it works as well. You just think about how to put it up there. Take a piece of your hair like such, right? And wrap it around like you would do in a pencil. And then there you go, it's up there. No problem. This is a labradorite that helps with protection, manifestation. It's a strength stone. I have pyrite. That's a kind of a gold color. Pyrite is in the same with lapis lazuli. That's where you see the pyrite colors in it, but it's more like what they call fool's gold. If you use this is going to help with meditation, negative energy, grounding, radiation, major help. This is green jade. Green jade happens to come in different variations, but they help with prosperity. They're also emotion, helps with protection. That's major. We have turquoise. Turquoise is a protector as well. Communication, and it's starting to become rare, so you got to keep your eyes on when you see it, gravitate towards it. If you ever want something to wrap, I'll personally wrap it for you. And we also have some brothers and sisters that came through the field called the Shaolin of New York, Shaolin of Norfolk. We came out of that field from Brother Ike, who showed all of us, how to rap. And we still do it for the less price than you would ever imagine. But this is why it's helpful, because we want to pass on the rites of passage and not just hit them in the head for whatever that is we're trying to look for out of them. Azurite, good one. This is great too, as far as protection. It's a communicator as well. They call this the earth nurturer as well. So it'll help with you having, if you're not dealing with, if you are dealing with too many issues, this one is a good protector, help you in your mother's spirit. We have, of course, the amethyst. I didn't explain that, but the amethyst is good for any addictions. It's a strengthening stone. If you have anxiety, this is great to lay down, get back up. You won't have any problems. I'm gonna skip some of that because I'll be sticking into that all the time. Green adventuring again. They come in various shapes. This is a raw form, so whether it be tumbled or raw, whatever your preference is, it's still going to be helpful. Fluorite. Fluorite happens to be a spirituality crystal, and it helps you with different types of methods as far as communication, protection as well, and that spirituality tapping into the God form. So we're saying this is a lot for us when we get different colors. This was more of a green and a purple, so it's dealing with your feelings at the bottom, or what we call our heart, rising it back up into the purple. And they got the white striated lines in there as well, which is going to help with what we call the issues of surgery. It's a quick recovery. This is another fluorite, the darker and more purple, so it's going to be more on the spirituality. We got tiger's eye, great one for grounding, negative energy, helps with protection. A lot of people like it because of how it reflects when it's hit by the light or the sunlight or even the regular light on the ceiling. This is labradorite. As you can see, it has an iridescent connection. I said it earlier, but this one again is for protection, grounding, strengthening stone. You can use this for manifestation. That's another green aventurine. That's tiger's eye, and we talked about the fluorite already. So I'm gonna skip over here and go to the ones we haven't talked about. So we already talked about tiger's eye. That's pink rose quartz. Love, affection, centering, energy work, grounding, negative energy. Red jasper. It's a great one to use. If you find out also your birthday, you'll say, oh, it's one one stone to your birthday. It's not actually one stone to your birthday. It's up to 6 different birthstones. So if you have, let's say you Aquarius, look up Aquarius birthstones with the S, and you see there's up to 6, might be even more. So, and also in the book, Kubigan and Gumi, it shows you the perpetual calendar. It also tells you what vibratorial number you are. And if you look in the pages in that number, it also gives you the crystals that work with that vibratorial number. So it is different methods on finding out what kind of crystals you want to have around you or your foundation. This one's onyx. Onyx is good for manifestation. They call it the fate stone, and they call it the protector. So it does protect, and it gives you, like how most people know the song Onyx, it gave you that feeling of, okay, I know I got to get out of some negative energy. So expression is another way that most of us know you can get it out better. Another grounding, which we call the tiger's eye. This was Amazonite, love and affection. It helps relate to your heart, as your heart now connects to your throat, and that's how that becomes helpful. We have a blue calcite. Blue calcite is good for healing. If you need some healing with calcite, that's definitely one of those. Those just got out of surgery, things like that. You want to carry that around. It makes it a quicker recovery. And if you notice, the whiteness in it happens to be the same white on this one, and that's citrine. Citrine happens to have calcite as well, and the yellow form of it is good for what we call the confidence. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Am I confident when I'm saying that? Confidence and prosperity. So as far as friendship, this is also a helpful one. Now, if you notice, I've done some in different shapes. The thicker the copper is, the more help it has for what we call a super conduit. We put the copper as one thing as a conductor, but with the copper with a crystal, it becomes a super conduit. And now you can take that, put it in an organite, and you really got some things going on. So it's really not just, oh, I can't wear the copper. Well, we can give you a different layment and put that on, put it on a string, put it on something else that way you can still rock it without actually, say, it damages your skin. Well, in another actuality, it's also an indicator, like a thermostat. When it sits on your skin turned green, it's basically saying you need hydration. And so, washing it off and doing whatever have you to clean it, make sure you drink some hydrated or eat hydrated foods. Once you do that, then put it back on, and you see if it turned green again, that means you didn't have enough. Yet it's doing its job. So don't look at it that you got allergies or you're allergic. Usually when the sun hits you, you sweat, and it'll let you know how much you've been sweating so much that you're dehydrated versus you just passing out. So that's a good thing to know about copper. There's even what we say high copper intake of foods that you can have, like avocado, apricot, things like that. Leafy foods. And so it gets down from whether it be that I get a necklace made up, or We've been setting up copper rings. You know, we do copper rings, and I do give it affordable. If any children around at my events, I actually go up from well, if the mother allows it or the father, from 1 all the way up to 16. You can get a free copper from me when you see me in my events, and that's how I feel. I was having high blood pressure at 16, which, as a recoverer, I want to give back to my people in a way that they can afford it just as much as I can. So giving it to my children is a major thing, and not just my children, your children, because we're all building. And once we become mound builders towards that, we can build our mound better. I do have some more up here. It's just a couple though. I got a snake jasper. Snake jasper is good for nurturing the body, help with the situations that, you know, sometimes it's at hand, you don't know how to handle it, but it's just like a snake, you gotta move with the left and the right. So this is gonna help your hemisphere of the brain react better instead of just, you know, just going right at it. You wanna be able to slow down, breathe, relate to your crystal. Sometimes you might even have to rub it, or even go into the sunlight to let it activate itself. So when you see that it's doing its work, usually you'll find out the copper will turn. It's called oxidation, and that's why it'll turn into a different complexion of color. That's not that it's bad. It's just going through the phase. You use some lemon to clean it, or basically strip off that, and then put some either dish liquid, rub it up, and get the shine back on it. I think I set everything up. Okay, well, that's the highlight again. Yeah, I set everything up here. Well, except for this one. This one happened to be. Wait, no, let's see. Ruby. You have rubies. There's certain rubies that's out, whether it be tumble form or raw form. Raw form is preferably better. And of course, the color changes from a bright, like a red, blood red, or to a purplish red. It depends on what they call it, levels of it. Is it that it'll be like grade A or grade B, certain things like that. So, start looking into that as well. That'll help you figure it out, identify. Like I said, if you find any and you want to come to 2718 Grammy Street in Conscious Planet, I don't mind wrapping it for you. It just depends on the hardness of it, because if it's not as hard as it can be and it breaks my hand, I'd rather not. So pyrite usually kind of breaks up. I think it's like a hardness of a 3 or a 5, depends on how it's tumbled. And the same thing, what I had was celestite. Celestite usually crumbles up in your hand, so that'll be certain ones. Like I said, once they're too soft, it can break or fracture. This is one I did recent. That's actually a black tourmaline inside, and tourmaline is usually another one that can break down. It just depends on what is going on with it. Is it striated or is it tumbled? And that's what you can work with. But if you notice, we'll use the copper to wrap around a 1, a 2, and a 3 is usually the basic. And then as far as the even size, even side, even side. So that way the dimension as far as energy is flowing is giving it the symmetrical versus asymmetrical. That was one of the important things as far as the brother who gave me the knowledge, and to move on with it so that I can pass it on to the next group that, as we say, pay it forward. So now that I said all that, I'm going to go ahead and drum out for y'all, and we can call it a wrap, because I know we've been up here for some time. I know y'all, thank y'all for being here. Give yourself a hand, yeah. All right, let me move this table right quick. Cool. If you got any questions, let me know. So, when I first started drumming, I had I didn't even actually drum. I was dancing first. That's why I had to give you that first. And an introduction to it wasn't really African dancing. It was reggae. Yeah, reggae also got me geared to wanting to get into African dancing, and then Afro beats applied another way of seeing it. How to still use that as the whole body being used, and so there is to. I know most people might shame Afro beats. I still can't shame it because it still kept the innocent side in it, along with our childlike abilities. Some of the words we might not know what they're saying. However, eventually we will. Just like some of the things your daddy and your mama was saying, we didn't get it, but eventually we got it. You know what I'm saying? So, like we said in the beginning, with sound. And so here we are reflecting sound back. My marriage ended up in a divorce, and under that tree at that time, I had a ring for her, and she had a drum for me. And coming out of the divorce, I had to still hit the drum while she got rid of the ring. So I didn't know if it was going to be a cultural thing or a fade. I know mine, as far as the drumming, I definitely wanted to keep it as cultural. So I ended up with a small drum, and I worked my way up to a point where I was just buying drums on a constant, and I might have broke the head or something off of it, but I just wanted to get these drums so much that I wanted to pass it on. And so I got a Cash App running, and eventually I used the Cash App to get more drums. Now the thing is, we don't know about the ties that's in between, having money in your hand or somebody giving the money to you, that it comes with strings. And so as I started to get up on Facebook and I think it was Instagram, one of them flagged me down, and they basically said what I was doing was against their rules or regulations. And so they ended off my Cash App, and I still don't have a Cash App to this day. However, me and my significant were still using our other means and figuring out how to do it without, the disruption. So what I was doing on that was going to the summertime. By the time I get enough build-up, get to their neighborhoods and their parks, and I would drum. And once they heard it, they'll come on out, they're running out all over the place, and I had duffel bags. And so whoever came over and was really interested started tapping on the drum. Once I saw that they were tapping, I said, oh, there go one. And I tell one on, go ahead, get on the drum. And then next thing you know, their eyes get big, and they're like, oh my gosh, you got a drum. And they're like, oh my God. And they're like, I can't wait to tell my dad and my mom. I'm like, that's what's up. Or they might be there. And then I say, sorry if I, pass in the drum. Like, yeah. I'll take a picture of them. And so that was one of the things that, because like I said, I had high blood pressure at 16, so what can you do before 16 that you can give to them before they get there? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that was the drum. And so if you feel like you're still one of those people that maybe don't know the cause, come through, we'll figure it out, and we can work it out together. I know what we were doing was going into the community and actually drumming it back out, going down the street and just picking up trash. So it became another part to how it became a tribal thing, to bring the drums out for a reason and not just because we just drumming. And another about the getting into the 5-pointed star or the 7-pointed star, we call it a green leaf, Mama Earth. Usually we drum when we're into that libation. And that's not just sitting there and, I'm blazed up, I don't know what to do. We got to actually reuse this energy that was useful for us since we were in the past into the now present. And a lot of religions, whether you know it or not, banned a lot of that so that this wouldn't be what it is now. if you learn Aminet, A-M-E-N-I-T, Aminet or Aminet, or Aminta, A-M-E-N-T-A, she is the feminine energy through the Kemetic teachings that brought the music, the folklore, the sounds, the vibration, the dancing to the community. So they end up calling them shamans later on, and then they end up calling them witches and got rid of them. So this still was the considered doula that ended up with the purple fingers, but it was only because she went in and grabbed the child out that they said a woman with purple fingers burned her because she's doing witchery, and they knew nothing of the delivery, how babies are born, you know what I mean, or being delivered, as they say, because you already won birth. Your mentality to the drum is the same connection to how we are physical. So some people do, even as a baby, don't want to touch the drum. So as a full-grown adult, some people might have came right out of Africa and don't know how to drum. So it's not about where you are, it's where you're from. It's about how you can, interact to an enlightenment from where you are to now to what you can add and apply to it. So this is a Ghanese drum. It's from Ghanese, and it's Guyana, my bad, Guyana drum. It actually has my name on it. My merchant actually told me, if you're going to get a drum, we're going to carve your name in it. And they actually did. So I was like, yo, I got a Ghanaian drum that's got my name in it. Powerful. The sounds are different from what I used to hit on a Ghana drum. But because of this movement that we were speaking on, my father passed recent. And after the recent passing, it took me for a minute to even, lift my head back up on the situation because, that's your dad. Who else but your dad, right? Well, that's how this drum came in the next following year. I did put some extra effort to get the money to get it. And usually what I'll do is I'll go out Virginia Beach, drum, and get the money that way. So I want it to be completely going in my pocket because I do have a couple of children to feed. But I make sure they're fed first. And I kept it going. And then eventually it came out. The brother who's actually in a wheelchair got this drum for me. It's the Day Program. If you haven't heard of them, the Day Program, Brother Cam. Much love, bro. We call him Cam Kama. King Cam, most people know him too, but powerful New York brother, see, I was talking about New York, and he's a Scorpio, so he helped me relate back to the 8 energy. I am a number 8, like Noble Drew Ali, so it's a lot about the Nat Turner energy to how you can see from that, and another form of we're getting out of this slavery mentality to nationality feeling. And so this was another get yourself back into the figure 8 from a 4-pace, 4-beat tone. Yet the 4-beat tone is basically like we were talking about earlier about solid, liquid, gas. So with solid, liquid, and gas, we do alchemize and create a 4th level of it. Because the 4th level does explain a lot, bass tone slap, you can have another, so bass tone slap, you can create a 6 in your 3. Now, what I say about a 4 pattern is you do it maybe 4 times. So that's the 4, right? So now that I did the 4th, you can change the pattern. So now I do that bass tone slap, which is still 3, in a 4 pattern way, and now I add the link to it. Now everybody else that can hear it and the familiarization can dance to it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Or 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4. but you're actually giving yourself a 1-2 on one side and 1-2 on the other side. And that's how, if you notice, African beats, there's now going back to our R&B, hip hop, all of it is based on drums. Even the gospel has drums. Might not be as strong as it was at one point. It was, but now it might have been synthesized to where it's westernized. But to get into this African style or Kemetic style, this is called like the frying pan. The other drum is what we call the water drum, is known as the conga or Congo, and that's where you get the sound of congas making it more of a water sound, where it's more liquidy. This was more fiery. So let me go ahead and do the pattern for you. See how it was changing up every 4, minus just the bass, or without the bass. This what makes the DJ, as this is called, the djembe. So how you play it can come to where you're a DJ. Making a DJ play out. As you know, we can go fast, we can go slow, we can go faster, go loud, and go low. So that's how the 4, negative, positive, optimistic, and then of course pessimistic. Those 4 sounds is really still a part of what we're doing, just like the trade winds, the Nazi, simple, 4 on one side, 4 on the other, makes it 8. As you see, it's like a figure 8. It has the top, it has the bottom, and that 8 is flat, but it's like how it's curved. If you think of women with curvature energy, that's why we're saying women who are curved like a figure 8 will have a great baby. And that's where we as men start to learn and how to relate to a tree as trinity, not just a dual and duality, and learning one can give a flower, that's a man, while the other one can give a fruit, and that's a woman. The woman now is the deflowering when she has her 13 cycles. And so now us as men, we might have to play music and keep her, calm at bay when the water's rising. Too much water, we can have chaos. So we got to learn order in chaos. So I'm going to play a beat. Y'all can interact however you want to do, but this is what we do. Good things.
Man, I'm gonna call you
Yes, sir.
wrap up, man, in the background, man. I'm gonna call you in the background, and I'm gonna link up with you.
Yes, sir.
Peace, guys. Show's over. Peace.
Yes, sir. Let's do that.